Hello and welcome to the console side of WOR. I am joined. I've just realised that Joseph. I'm under the above Joseph's name, and Joseph's above mine. But I'm joined by the wonderful Joseph for the kickoff to the console side, or the pre-season testing, I suppose we could call it from our side of things. But it's going to always the first couple of times for a game. It's always amazing to see how people have changed, isn't it, Joseph? It's going to be fun.
That is the word. Good evening, Gareth. Good evening, everybody. It's great to be back for another year of the F1 games. It's taken up probably the majority of my life, my little life by now, but it's always the fun part of the game. We learn about strategy, we learn about who's going to be quickest, of course, going into the main season, and with the ending we had to the console season last time out, it'd be good to get an early indication of what that fight could be this year.
It certainly will do, and they're already on track for qualifying, so we're going to head straight over. And something that we did find about, from especially the PC side of things yesterday, that if you start on the medium compound of tyres, the tyres die off quite quickly in comparison to possibly the last game or the game before, where if you start on the hards, you can still maybe be able to push away with the one-stop strategy.
Yeah, the one-stop now is a bit more of a chore, rather than it just being very simple and, you know, the driver's not really having to put in too much thought regarding their tyre wear. You've got to make it stretch now. I think Andrea was just telling me, and he's racing tonight, he was just telling me they expect the the medium tyres to reach about 70% by 11 laps in, and that's puncture territory. So that is a good chunk of the race they've really got to manage their tyres for in order to get to the hard phase, and then in an ideal world, be able to push quite flat out to the end. So it'll be interesting to see whether that sort of struggle is replicated tonight, and I fully expect it to be, because, you know, as far as I'm aware, there isn't any difference at all in the tyre wear between console and PC.
No, there's less of a gap, I think, with the... Maybe I'm being a bit too over-ambitious with saying this, but there's less of a gap with the people from a PC to a console side of things outside of esports so far, but obviously the game has been out a week, so it's probably very, very too early to say on that. But there's loads of new faces. There's loads of new faces, but there's loads of returning faces for the console tier 1 showcase, whatever practice session we're going to say, including last season's champion Volokongan there. Is it possible to go back to back from a different game to a new game?
I think so. We are still, I think, awaiting a back-to-back console champion, and I fully think he is one of the drivers that could finally make it happen. But yeah, as you said, lots of returning names, of course, lots of quick names, some maybe less frequent drivers that aren't always in the WR side of things on console. Bell B, Zinedine Hadjadj as well, both drivers that aren't racing too frequently in previous games. Maybe they will use this as an audition tonight for their seat in console tier 1, and it's a predominantly PlayStation grid. Just a day after PSGL had their own PlayStation social race, these guys are fully warmed up, and yeah, looking to go again on a different track.
I'm just looking at that. Yeah, three Xbox drivers, which I remember when we were commentating, is it 2 years ago now? It was predominantly Xbox, and they were the one. They've all moved. They've all, some of them even on the F1 esports stage. As there goes Ryder Dahl to top the current standings right now. And on a word on Ryder Dahl, he's definitely in with a chance. He's someone that's been there or thereabouts when it comes to championships. I know we're not even in the season yet. We don't know where people are placed. But it's always going to be something to talk about, isn't it? Who can win a championship? Zinedine Hadjadj as well, a very, very quick driver who can be up there, really, at the end of the season to fight alongside all these other PlayStation drivers.
Yeah, Ryder do recall a good few podiums for him last season. Yeah, I'm right. He finished 4th in the championship, got 3 podiums in the first half of the season, but just never really transferred that over to the second half. So, if he puts a full season together, that would have been championship winning potential. Sorry, it was 5th in the championship from Ryder Dahl's point of view. Zinedine as well. Again, just somebody that needs to put it all together rather than just those good one-off performances. So yeah, both of them looking to go that one step further in their WR career this season.
Certainly things to consider throughout, as there goes Le Quantum on a second lap as well, and we're still on board with Ryder Dahl, just showcasing some of these drivers. There goes the Volakonga into the pits. Lawrence coming down the back. Well, there's multiple back straights here, isn't there, really? You've got a north straight, a east straight, a south straight, and a west straight, really, here in Bahrain. And Lawrence just, I think, setting up a lap time, just about to start one, but it got to move quickly because there is a Red Bull hurtling down into turns 14 and 15. Actually, I think they might be going into the pits, so we'll ignore that. That very much a continuation from the commentator's curse. When you think someone's going to set up a lap, they go into the pits. But I know we spoke briefly before the stream started about it, but what's, you felt a little bit happier with this game, but what's impressed you the most so far?
Of course, it was designed to be an accessible game, so from my point of view on the pads, I've enjoyed it countlessly more compared to F1 24, where it just felt really unnatural to drive. I think this does reward being a lot smoother. Of course, there's less of the flicking stuff, and well, while you can still do it, it is going to punish your tyres and is not really feasible in the long term in a racing condition. Of course, I think the tracks look stunning. The LiDAR version of Bahrain that we've got on this game, a perfect example of showcasing what the potential is if you just give the game a little bit more TLC from the aesthetic side of things. This track feels lovely, the curbs are as they should be, and overall I'm just getting a really good response from sitting down, playing the game with my controller and enjoying it like a good old F1 game. So credit to them for that, but I think we did expect a major improvement this year, especially when you consider it was made by the 21 and 23 teams, and those are games that people, well, considerably preferred.
Definitely. I mean, I would go back and say I'd want a remake of F1 23 if I was, but that's just showing my age a little bit, to be perfectly honest. But there goes Epic Fail into 8th place. Another driver who had a really topsy-turvy season last season and could have been in with a title fight towards the end, but had some incredible comeback drives. Baku, the one that springs to mind from last to first, which we don't often see in WR anymore. Even Otis Lawrence and Thomas Ronhaar never really were able to produce that feat so often. So Epic Fail able to do that. Obviously, circumstances helped them massively, but it's interesting to see how the PGR driver, it's one track they're good for. The next track they might not be so polished at.
Yeah, Baku was a real highlight of the season, of course, because noticeably capitalised on the points dropped by, of course, the two that were fighting for the title in the final race in Volakonga and Tech Brutal. He was there. He could have won it. And again, another driver that just needs that final bit of cutting-edge consistency to get them over the line. And, well, with, of course, I want to say this game is going to have less of a lottery element to it. And maybe gaps can be just pulled apart between the front runners and the midfield cars, especially in race conditions with the extra dirty air. I'm just hopefully thinking that can maybe just separate our top drivers and give us more of a fairer championship fight going forward, because some drivers will feel so hard done by it, that the way that the last game had to be driven, there was a lot of punt to passing, DRS games, not particularly stuff that we like to see as commentators or indeed the viewers watching. So yeah, hopefully the racing is a better product this year and he can get involved in it.
Well, fingers crossed from all involved. And as a commentator yourself, I know for myself it was very difficult at times to keep neutral about the game, because you don't want to be moaning too much, do you? It's difficult to be neutral about it. But it seems like the eSport lines definitely at Bahrain is back, and you see how wide Shizu Oscar takes into 14 and 15, and it just shows how much they have actually made the change to the games, isn't it? It's quite nice to see as Oscar goes into second place. Another driver, especially towards the end of the surprise set season, as you could say, season 20 was, with not being able to use the medium compound of tyre, sorry, not medium, hard, which Bumblebee fell foul of on the first race of the season. We're not going to have any of that, I don't believe, for season 21. We haven't had it fully confirmed yet, but we're almost certain we're not going to have the hard compound rule in place again. But it was quite nice to have that element for season 20, wasn't it? Not so it spiced up a little bit.
Yeah, of course. We dropped the lower tiers, so of course we had to give people something a bit more of an incentive to watch, and obviously that tests for future games. That wasn't just a standalone thing, really. If it, it was good to watch, and hopefully, all being well, we can have some of that implemented into Worlds and some of the other top tier events over the course of the year as well, just so we're not seeing the same thing week in, week out. So yeah, I did enjoy season 20, purely because it gave me less to do and I only had to follow 2 races a week, but even then I still couldn't really manage that half the time.
It's not easy, is it, when there's a workload of everything else going on as well. But yeah, it does throw up the question as we get a new leader at the top there, as Shizu Oscar's still going around pretty slowly. Le Quantum, they're second down on their lap time. Lifebout is 10 seconds down on their lap time, so I don't think they're going to go any quicker on that run through. Lauren, could we see a lap time from Lawrence is coming through sector 2 now? 4 seconds down. I can't pick a driver that's actually on a lap time. We've got 5 minutes of the session remaining, and it looks like it's very similar glitch with the yellow flag, but it could be because there's so many drivers out on track going slowly at the moment. But I did notice in the PC side of things that yellow flag kept on throwing up into sector 1. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is. I think the game's just getting confused with drivers pulling off the racing line. There's a yellow flag in sector 2 now, and that is just for a couple of slow-moving cars. I mean, this shouldn't really be causing yellow flags, but fortunately there's no real punishment for going flying through them like there is in real life in terms of grid penalties. Again, I'm having a hard time picking out somebody that is potentially on a lap. Not bad. Lifebout is. He's 3 tenths up coming through sector 2, and just a couple more corners to go. It looks like one more, but the real life track map will tell you that it is 2 more corners. No traffic in the way. Flicks it in to the right-hander using plenty of inside curb, using all of it on the exit as well. We'll open up DRS. It's a short dash to the line using the rest of his battery, and he goes up into 3rd. And will he have time to do another lap? I'm not too sure, but Lifebout has put himself quite high up on the grid there.
It's a nice little start for Lifebout as we'll go on board with Nail. Actually, Shizu Volokongan's down there. So yeah, Lifebout up into 3rd place. That's good for them at the time being. And yeah, Shizu Volokongan and the Alpine that we've got there, the pink and blue. I mean, we've had these liveries quite a lot in the real F1, but what's your favourite livery at the moment while we're waiting for all the other drivers to finish their laptops and go on for one final run?
I think the V-Carb is absolutely stunning on board. I said it when they rolled out for pre-season testing this year that is just going to be my favourite all season long. But come to look at it on the game, I think the lighting reflections off the Alpine are very nice with the light blue and pink colour scheme, but equally the Aston Martin with the they've had the same livery for a few years, but I think this game just makes it pop a little bit more. So yeah, I think they're my favourite 3.
There we go. You heard it. Well, you probably haven't heard it here first, but you heard it here first in the stream for WOR what Joseph's favourite colours or liveries are. And it's nice, and I think this season the colours on the dots for the map actually help a little bit more, because I think it was very confusing between the Red Bull, the RB or the V-Carb and the Williams. It was just, and even the Alpine, I think it just got confusing and you didn't know who was where on track at times, and especially at the beginning of the season, it it just made things a little bit more awkward.
I'm still struggling. I think there's a Williams and a V-carb that's just come out the pit lane. They're two still quite similar shades of blue, but the Williams is slightly darker. Obviously, Red Bull is navy, and the V-carb is still kind of the... It's not even an AlphaTauri colour. It's more of a Toro Rosso colour from 2019 prior. So, yeah, again... Oh, no, that's the Alpine. So which one's... oh, now I'm confused. Where's the V-carb? The V-carb is a navy blue. Oh, I'm confused already, Gareth. This is a learning curve for me. They're very similar, the V-carb and the Red Bull. Okay, that's not going to get confusing at all.
Volakonga then. Let's get back to some times. Volakonga, 1 minute 50 remaining. Epic Vale has left the session and come back in. Epic Vale also lost his front wing, part of it anyway, coming down after turn 10, so I'm not sure what happened there, but Volakongan only managing P4 for the time being, and everyone else only going to get faster as we will go on board with Hazara. Maybe Hazara will do something coming through turns 12 and into 13. 1 minute 27.5, so about a second slower. Actually, I think there's going to be drivers before Hazara. Getkowski into turn 1. Then let's see what the Kick-Sauber driver can do. And actually, you know what? I quite like the Kick-Sauber. It's not as in-your-face colour scheme this season for the Kick-Sauber. It just looks and flows nicer. I'm not sure why.
Yeah, I like the whole green front end. It's easy to pick it out on track rather than it just being a bit more black at the front. But Getkowski, the more important thing here is that he's slightly up on his time. And he's about 300ths up. Interesting to see how tight they're taking some of the corners, really slamming on the brakes. And of course, the braking is ever so slightly harder. This is a tricky braking zone, and this will cause the majority of the front left tyre wear in the race as the cars lock up. Esports line coming up. We've seen real drivers do this as well. Kimi Antonelli was one of those that was really exploiting the track in this year's Grand Prix. Maybe just showing his age and the fact that he has grown up in the recent years playing and extracting every bit of lap time from the simulators and in that sort of manner. Now 2/10 up is Getkowski. He's looking maybe for a top 5 start here. And what a good, promising start to the new game that would be for a driver who has developed into being one of the more hardcore racers, one of those that's very notoriously difficult to beat. Here comes Getkowski to the line and he goes 8th. Just 100th behind Nalgio and just a 10th off the top 5.
Dirk is the next driver, but losing it between 14 and 15 and, well, managed to keep it pointing in the right direction still, but that could have been a bit nasty. Matteo then down in 18th place across the line, throws themselves into 6th place. That's a good lap time there. And just to throw the colour scheme off a little bit, the Mercedes is that baby blue colour as well. So we've got all the blues on the dots on the map. But Lawrence up into 13th place. Who else can we go on board with? Is that coming over the line? Is that Silo, who is into 10th? Ferrari of Quantum. There's a 10th up on their lap time. But still a little bit way off the front two at the moment, who are separated, well, not by much at all. And I think that's Ray and Bakar up into 2nd place. Ryder Dahl. Across the line for the Mercedes driver. It will take provisional pole.
Yeah, great lap there from Ryderdale up to the top of the timesheets. Owen is slow, he won't improve. Zinedine Hajjaj is off the track down in P18, as we already know. Getkowski's finish. Oscar crosses the line. A .666 to make it a Ferrari second row lockout. And Oscar, who was fighting at the front so often at the back end of last season, kickstarts this new game with another top 3 start in qualifying.
Well, indeed, and there's front wing damage to that. The front wing damage looks better this season as well. Obviously, a new game and whatnot, so that's nice to see as well. But Ryder Dahl at the top, Ryan Bakar in 5th place. But it's good to see Oscar continuing that momentum, and Owen up the top as well, who, well, it wasn't there in season 20, but we've had him in the console tier 1 before, and he's always seemed to be able to produce some frustrating performances for other drivers. So he's getting in the way, which is possibly exactly what he wanted to do and provide some entertainment for us. But from what we've seen so far, Joseph, what do you think is the Is this the running order, or is things going to be a little bit different when it comes to race?
I don't see how the grid shakes up too drastically from qualifying to the race. We expect it, and it has, I think, just been set to a nice clear evening in Bahrain, and more often than not we don't get any other outliers that shake things up around here. But the pace is close, you know, it's not a big field spread, about a second covering the full grid as you'd expect from a console top tier in Bahrain. So yeah, I think we'll see some creative overtaking using the 3 DRS zones, but other than that, pretty solid grids.
Yeah, looking good, and yeah, we'll think about who's going to win race and whatnot in a moment. But hello everyone in the chat. We've got people from Iceland, from Belgium. It's always great to see the cultures coming in for this one, because it's World Online Racing for a reason, because there is so many different drivers from different parts of the earth, and that's brilliant. It's not just us Brits. There is loads of there through there. Ryan Modler as well. Great to see in the chat after his promotion into PC side of things. And for possibly the first time in a long, long time, I'm not going to be able, and you're not going to be able to say, well, it's not World Online Restart. We are going straight into a race, and that's something that we haven't done for quite a while. So that's good to see. Chat, let us know who you think is going to take victory. Hopefully there is no bug on having a look at the race director like there used to be. But for yourself, Joseph, who do you think is going to be the victor tonight? Is it going to be Ryder Dahl, or can Owen and Oscar or Quantum do anything about it?
I'm going to go... Oh, I've not looked at the pace prior to anything tonight, so I'm not sure what to expect at all, but I always fancy Matteo for a comeback drive. Hopefully not to jinx him, because I always jinx who I think is going to win. But I'm going for Matteo in that bright green kick Sauber that we were just on about to win from 8th. And I hope so, because hopefully it means that the overtaking isn't as difficult as some extremists in the F1 game world make it out to be.
Well, fingers crossed and touch wood that is the case. But yeah, I was going to go for Matteo as well, so I'm going to think of someone else. I don't know why. We haven't seen him in a little while, and I thought, you know what? He's always been a relatively quick driver and one to go up there. I'm going to go with Dirk in 13th place, mainly because he is in 13th, and it's for me, it's unlucky for some, but hopefully it's lucky for him. But oh, goodness me, we are going to be racing very, very shortly here. We got 5 red lights in the Bahrain. Ryder Dahl gets away pretty quickly, but I think Owen might have a chance of getting him into turn 1 if he keeps the second phase of this start up, but I don't think he has. The Ferraris have dropped quite a bit as Ray and Bakar going up the inside and clipping the back end of the Haas of Owen, and the Ferrari of Shizu Oscar managing to get the move back in, but they're really, really all skew with and nearly 4 wide as they head on down into turn 4. This could be a little bit dangerous for some of them. Still fighting away. The Red Bull of Lifebout is throwing his nose up there. I didn't even see Brando getting sandwiched there between Lifebout and an Alpine. And I think that Alpine was Vologongan last season's champion. But my goodness me, what a start to this Grand Prix.
Oh, the Red Bull off again. Lifebout off for a second time. Backwards he goes into the Armco barrier there, just before the braking zone of turn 8. So horrendous start for Lifebout in the end. I think he ended up locking wheels with the Alpine, and Aston Martin went with him. I think that was Brando at the time. So yeah, a bit of a chaotic start from Lifebout. It's now got work to do to catch up. But one thing I was going to mention is they've not fixed this smoke, have they? It's horrendous viewing. Just a pure cloud locking up into the braking zones of turn 1 and turn 4. And the drivers can see that as well. So no wonder there was a lot of argy-bargy contact on that first lap. Hopefully that's something that can be addressed, because, again, it's not realistic. It doesn't quite look correct.
No, that is a little bit of a shame. So the front 5 have got themselves back into the positions they were in at the start of this Grand Prix somehow, after Ray and Bakar's absolute flyer of a start into the pits. I think Lifebout didn't go in the pits. As the smoke up in the air there, that's Matteo going up the inside of Ray and Bakar into turn 1 to 2. Ray and Bakar gets the pass back through. And look who's behind Matteo. It's Dirk who's trying to find a way through. But we will say Dirk is on a set of medium compound tyres. And something that we mentioned, I think, before stream, I don't think we mentioned during the medium. Well, I noticed last night in the PC race, the medium tyres don't seem to be able to go as long. So we could be seeing more of a forced two-stop strategy this season if things go the way we think they're going.
Yeah, again, expect him to pit latest lap 10 or 11 to avoid getting into that quite scary puncture territory, and one lockup or a bit of heavy loads around one of the high-speed corners of Bahrain could well just tip that tyre over the edge and force it to deflate rapidly. So, yeah, I think he's still on for a one-stop. The two-stop definitely not quicker around this circuit, but he is going to have to hang in there and try and make it work. But at the same time, he's stuck in a train of cars, the dirty air effect getting to him, just heating up those front tyres a little bit more than where they should be. This is not going to be an easy stint at all, as wide there goes LeQuantum. He gets back onto the track safely, has some gravel on his tyres, and here comes Ryan now, pulling to the right-hand side. He wants to make this move, but LeQuantum isn't going to make it happen, as Ferrari look to preserve their 3-4. Down the inside goes Ryan. Quantum opens up the door for him, but he's going to hang in there on the inside of turn 2. Perhaps took a warning for that minor corner cut, but in the end, the V-Carb doing the hard work. He's up to P4.
Goes defensive again going into turn 4 when I don't think... Oh, and Matteo trying to get involved in the inside of LeQuantum as well. I don't think LeQuantum was going to go for the move back on Ryan Bakar there, but Ryan deciding that he needed to go defensive. And, well, we spoke briefly about puncture territory and whatnot, and that is how the championship effectively... Oh, goodness me, what has gone on there? We got a safety car. What has happened?
Didn't see it, but they're on effectively the infield of the track on the downhill section towards turn 8. So again, I think similar to what happened to Lifebout, where he came a cropper. I think there's been some wheel hooking there and both drivers spinning uncontrollably off. And that is our first safety car of F1 25 console. Now I've had a look. It's on reduced, and you would still expect a safety car to come out for that. It's a two-car collision with both wheels off. So, yeah, glad that it has still come out for that, rather than just being a nothing incident.
Hazara front wing damage there as well. So maybe Hazara got caught into that as well. I didn't think I saw any front wing damage to Hazara before that. What is this? 2 laps, 3 laps in? We're going to see people pit? A little fake there. For some,
yeah.
The McLaren of Dirk has decided that he is going to pit. This is interesting.
Yeah, this is what I'd expect, I think. And is there going to be... Bell stayed out. We've got a few hard runners in as well. But Volakongan and Life lost positions off the start. And Hazara, of course, with front wing damage, almost being forced like, yeah, this is a free nothing pit stop for us. We were going to be in these positions anyway. But Dirk now turning this into a 2-stop strategy. So that's interesting. It will briefly take the lead when a lot of these cars come into the pit lane, but he'll be able to make overtakes because a 3-lap tyre difference is still quite significant.
I'm just trying to figure out. I kind of get Lifebout and Hazara go on to the mediums, do that stint on the mediums, and then go on the hards later on. It should be okay. But Volakongan's gone on to a set of softs. Do we think Volakongan's then just going to go back out and... It'll go straight into the pits to go on a set of hards? I'm not sure.
I would think he comes back in again because, I mean, if mediums are quick wearing, what are they going to be like? If he has another fresh set of hards available, yeah, he might try and stretch them to the end and, in effect, turn this into a testing session to see how long he can go before the tyres explode. That's always a fun challenge in the first week of the game. But no, I don't expect him to stay on those tyres.
No, it's a very odd one. But as I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted by a crash. Yeah, title was decided on pushing your tyres to the maximum last season. And... well, with the tyres being that little bit more fragile this season, could bode well for entertainment value.
Yeah, I think this game should reward decision making as well as, you know, wheel-to-wheel racing. So I think the drive with the best skilled attributes across both of those fields, yeah, is perhaps going to be your most likely for the champion. In fact, Volokonga does not stay on the soft tyres, so the first real risk of the season, I think. What's he going to do here? 2 sets of mediums back to the set of hards he was on. They look like white wall hard tyres to me, and it says they're fresh. Perhaps it's because they are. They've got that shine on them, which indicates to me that he's going to try and stretch this to the end.
Let's have a look on board. We should be able to see, well, you can see from this angle they are kind of shiny, but not too shiny. I don't know. It keeps glitching. It went shiny and then wasn't. So we're not 100% sure whether they are fresh or not. It's saying it's fresh. We're going to have to take the game for its word on this one, but Volocon could effectively go on to another set of mediums at the end. Maybe that's why he used the soft, so he'd have fresh mediums instead of wasting a set of those. Well, I know it's only a scrubbed one lap under the safety car conditions. It wouldn't take too much out of the tyres, would it?
No, not really. Saying that, he has locked up a bit, but again, I think that's just one of those visual things. We cannot take the visuals of the game for granted right now, whether that's the tyres, whether that's locking up. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it looks like these guys are driving like absolute maniacs with how frequently they lock up, but I promise you they're not.
Tom Roberts in the chat saying tyre wear too high just makes for an easier one stop.
Interesting. Okay.
That's good to hear. It's good to hear we've only done a handful ourselves. These guys probably have done quadruple the amount we've done.
Yes.
Combined. So it's nice to get some more information in it as well. And part of me wants to join a team just to get the information just at the start of a season, because it is interesting from that. But we are, under just about a finished safety car condition. Ryder is the de facto safety car. And when does he decide to go? He has already gone, I believe, as we come hurtling down the start-finish straight for a second restart for this one. He's left Owen behind a little bit as they head into turn one. There's a few squabbling cars behind as Ray and Bakar around the outside of the two Ferraris.
Picking off these Ferraris like they're nothing, but they both go off the track. Coming back on Quantumus to take avoiding action on the left-hand side, kicking up a load of gravel. Well, he did overtake off the circuit there, but I think we'll let that one slide because his teammate and indeed Ryan were both off the track as well. Great battling earlier on here. Ryan, it was a clean move, but we're back to VSC conditions. Gatkowski's gone off and I think has lost a bit of front wing or something for the VSC to trigger there. But initially it was a clean move. I just don't think he realised that Oscar was going to hang his nose in there. But fortunately they all got away with it.
Silo with no front wing whatsoever. So what's happened to Silo? And maybe that is why Gatkowski is a little bit far back with only minor front wing damage. But the VSC, well, we'll wait and see. And, Tom Roberts again putting in a really good point. Volokongan is really good with tyre wear. Super good. He was, that's what won him the championship at the end of the day in season 20, was just how good he was. So this is going to come a little bit a cropper at some stage. But the VSC is out, lap 6, and these guys will come into the pits at some point, and we'll get racing again very, very shortly. But an interesting start to this one from a console perspective.
Yeah, certainly so. Ryderdale, if that goes green again, it's like we just had a one-lap safety car. There he goes again, right on the start-finish line. Owen's actually a little bit closer this time than he was on the previous lap. Matteo, from 8th on the grid, is looking to get up into 4th. Here he goes on Ryan. This time, well, for the 3rd time, Ryan is battling into turn 1 and 2. This time doesn't chop off the front end of a Ferrari-powered car on his outside. Matteo, I think, a little bit smarter there, just backed out, didn't want to avoid what he just witnessed just a lap ago.
No, he definitely didn't, did he? He's seen it happen, and now he's like, I'll just wait a little bit. Shizu Oscar getting very close to the back end of Matteo as they head into turn number 8 there, as we've seen a few incidents there at points already, or just before there. So they then go into the heavy braking turn 10, which, well, you quite rightly mentioned already about there's a Williams in the background nearly collecting the wall and trying to find a way back onto the track. Is that Belbaby or is that Hazara? I think that's Hazara trying to find a way back onto the track on those fresh mediums. That's and now trying to make a move on Belbaby as well. And there's still a little bit of the carbon fibre, the fake carbon fibre, throwing up into the sky there that I don't think has actually caused any damage.
No, I don't think so. I mean, teammates in inverted commas here, because obviously it was a bit of a first come, first served car selection this evening, but still going to be careful in the way you treat each other here. Hazara almost sending Belbaby into a spin. It's Ryan again at turn 1 on Quantum. Matteo's looking to follow him through here. He had the inside line this time as we lose Max van der Geest in the pit lane. Matteo now focusing on the exit, deploying some of that battery, forcing the Quantum defensive, and then almost gets boxed in on the outside of turn 4. Still looking to make a move happen. There's the wheel locking again. Got to be careful. Again, just backs out at the right time, Matteo.
Showing a little bit of his race knowledge, I think, Matteo here. Just he knows he can't lose any of the front wing, or otherwise that is the point when he's really out of this race. Lap 8 of 29, still plenty to go. We are still expecting a lot of as Lifeboat up the inside of turn 10 on Shizu Oscar. Shizu Oscar definitely not expecting that, and the Red Bull nearly off-putting the Ferrari enough to make a move there. So, well, Lifeboat still, after a frustrating start to this Grand Prix, showing that there's still a little bit left in his Red Bull.
Yeah, swapping over to those medium tyres, again, it's just to make what effectively is now one stop since the safety car period that little bit easier, as what Tom Roberts was saying in the live chat just a few minutes ago. He will pit around about the same time as these hard runners you would expect, with the tyre wear balancing out across the medium and hard sets. So, yeah, he is in this race. This isn't an outlier. And here goes Le Quantum again. They've dropped a lot of time now to the top two, who are having their own race, but what a battle this has been for third. A great introduction to the game cycle so far, and again a Ferrari involved with Oscar in the background, side by side with Lifebout. Lifebout on the inside of turn 4, meanwhile Ryan pulls ahead and finally gets clear. Going into turn 4, Lifebout just squeezes Oscar right to the edge of the track. It's a flatter curve now, so it's a lot easier to do so. Great move there from Lifebout. Great racing on display.
And as you rightly mentioned, Ryder Dahl and Owen pulling away a little bit, probably saying thank you very much for your squabbling. We're going to try and build a little bit of a gap. It's 2.1 seconds between themselves and the rest of the grid at the moment. Silo and Gatkowski with front wing changes are a little bit further back for the time being. Lifebout, though, up into 6th place, making the most of the mediums work at the moment. Got Matteo up just ahead, as the other driver to pit under the safety cars are Dirk and Hazara. They're currently 12th and 13th respectively right now, not being able to make the same inroads, but Dirk on those harder compound tyres, so we weren't really expecting him to. And I think you're muted. Oh dear.
Hello.
There we go.
Hello.
Yes.
Sorry, we're back. My mic is a bit dodgy. I used the physical mute button there. My apologies. The Quantum is ahead of Ryan. I was going to say he's now in that management phase that he was looking to do the opposite of at the start of this race. So it takes a little bit to adapt. You were pushing flat out on the mediums, trying to make positions. Now you're just sat in a train looking to prolong a hard set. So, yeah, not as quite as rapid progress as he would have hoped, but look at this DRS train. I mean, it's being led by Le Quantum and Ryan. They've been battling for laps on end, and to be honest, long may it continue.
Definitely. It's been great to watch so far, and Shizu Oscar, who's been on the latter end of the squabbling and the battling, has dropped a few positions because of it as well, down to 7th place now with Lawrence just behind. And Andrea is down into 15th, dropping away from the rest of the grid at the moment. So that's an interesting one to keep an eye on. Matteo has life out for company just behind. Let's see what the mediums can do. But we've also got Rayan trying to get through the Quantum again. It's looking like these two might have a season, if it continues like that, we'll have a season-long battle.
Please, I mean, if it's for podiums every race, then it will make for quite interesting championship viewing. No doubt about it. Just another thing I was going to pick up on. You know, these guys are usually nose to tail. I'm talking 1 or 2 tenths. For the whole lap, they've just been kind of hovering 4 or 5 tenths of a second away from each other. That dirty air effect works in just separating the cars a little bit, just so it's not a chaotic mess down every start-finish straight. And while Ryan and the Quantum are making look easy, it's because that car in front doesn't have the effect of the dirty air, and so kind of it's just nullifying the effect of the DRS behind. I'm so sorry if you can hear that in the background, just one of the uni-life things. But anyway, yeah, it's less chaotic, I'll say that.
Yeah, it's already seen about about a lap now as a yellow flag for drivers. Silo has retired there. Ryan Bakar has brought it back down to 2.3. It was 2.1 when they entered turn number 10 last lap, and now it's back to that. Is that Owen making a mistake? Is there an issue with Owen being in the dirty air of Ryder Dahl ahead? Have we seen some issues there? Is the engine overheating?
Possibly. I don't know about the effects of engine overheating on this game. Of course, it's always been a thing, but it's always been easily rectifiable. You just kind of just sit on your own down a straight for a minute and suddenly you're fine again. But I think this is dirty air. I think this is just creeping into a certain range, and of course you expect the car to behave in a certain way, and the moment it doesn't because it's reacting to the dirty air, you lose momentum, and it's kind of a spiral effect from that. I think, at least that's what I've kind of thought about it as, especially on some of the dirty air tracks, if you like, such as Silverstone, where I've really felt that. So yeah, Owen just battling really invisible particles to try and keep the pressure on for the lead here.
Yeah, and look down the start-finish straight. It's reached back up to 2.9 seconds as they head on down into turn 4. Maybe it's Owen just struggling in sector 2, turns 5, 6 and 7, where Ryan catches back up. Let's see how the cap comes down now. It's 2.7 as they head on through the exit of turn 7 into turn 8. It's still about 2.6. So Ryan is catching through the middle part of the track. However, when it goes down the straight, he doesn't have an answer for Owen's pace.
Yeah, I mean, Ryder Dahl is effectively regulating Owen, so it's more credit to his pace as well. But no, you would have expected in the last few laps that Le Quantum and Ryan's overtaking, their constant DRSing against each other would have helped them gain a little bit, but no such thing really. Again, maybe that's an individual driver thing rather than something we can generalise to the whole game as of now. But yeah, really interesting to see two cars just streak pretty far clear in the opening stint of a race, even when we've had a safety car. Here goes Le Quantum again. He'll go back up into third with ease. Is Matteo close enough? Matteo's looking over his shoulder, actually, because he's got to defend from life out. Sits defensive into the first corner of this contact. Oh, I don't think Matteo quite saw Ryan there. He will allow Ryan to go back through. Fair play. That's what you'd expect him to do there. But maybe the smoke or something just catching him out there.
Yeah, maybe that wasn't ideal, was it? And look at the time now. It's 3.4 seconds between the front runners and the Quantum, as Ryan struggling a little bit there with pace as Bell Bobby into the pits onto a set of hards. One of the medium runners from this race, and Hazara dropping away from Volokongan in P12 as well. Volokongan trying to get back up to nail after front wing damage. No, not front wing damage for him. Just an early pit stop, wasn't it, under the safety car. And Matteo, though, that's good for Matteo. It was nice. Well, I say nice. It was good racing etiquette to let Ryan Bakar hold that. Even in a social, it's good to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't think anybody is petty enough to start putting tickets in to try and alter the result here. For many, this will still be a first competitive race. So, you know, no surprise to see just an error in judgment in the braking zone there. And to be honest, I'm surprised we've not seen more as of yet, so we'll hope that they stay quite low profile for the time being. A little bit of fighting the back end this time for Ryan. It feels like we're just exclusively covering these two. Same issue in the background. Niall Gio has just slid off the track, caught a bit of oversteer and went off the track in the background. Just saw it from the wide shot there. Hazara comes in to retire. Hopefully we don't lose too many more cars due to not really being bothered.
Well, fingers crossed. And Jota brings up the point. I think I was made it in words that I think I was trying to say, but I made an absolute hash of it. The DRS is powerful. Doesn't matter what P3 does. P2 is gaining massively under DRS down the start-finish straight. Because you were quite right. Ryderdal is making this pace that Owen has got. And it's quite ominous to see right now how strong Ryderdal is. This could be, I'm not going to say Otis Lawrence domination kind of era, but Ryderdal doesn't, I don't want to say it, but it doesn't look like he's pushing too much.
Yeah, it just looks like he's having a nice cruise. He's, I think, using a lot of battery per lap, and he can afford to. You know, he's clear. He's not really got to defend from Owen. He's just sort of dragging him along. This is great pace from Ryderdal so far. Lifebout got a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Hopefully it wasn't the case of the double warning. I've heard a lot of stories of that. I've had it myself, even in open lobbies and whatnot, which effectively is governed the same way, track limits wise, as you would see in this 29-lap race. Will we see any pit stop activities on this lap? No. On we go then. Again, looking to stretch these tyres to lap 15, 16, maybe 17 and beyond to try and push on the mediums towards the end of this Grand Prix.
Lifebout on lap 11 mediums, obviously one of them under the safety car, so that will possibly, or a few of them under the safety car, will possibly push them a little bit further on into this Grand Prix. We did see Brando, who is one of the ones that haven't pitted under the safety car, nearly lose it at the exit of turn 10, went to the left and then went to the right and nearly collected Volokongan. But yeah, interesting to see. Dirk and Volokongan, will they go to the end of the Grand Prix, or are we thinking that they're going to pit again? Tom Roberts didn't really answer that question. We thought he did by saying Volokongan, this tyre wear is just too strong, but then said Volokongan is a tyre whisperer. So both answers there are true, and we don't know what Volokongan will do. But as things stand, the Quantum's able to hold off to Ray and Bakar for the time being, and Ryderdal still leads this Grand Prix, and we hadn't had our main pit stops for the front runners yet.
No, we haven't. Again, just a couple of laps under that safety car allowed for a bit of tyre management and effectively took less pressure off the mediums at the back end of this race, which we know are quite high in terms of degradation. Just having a look visually on Lifebout's tyres. By the way, we have a new leader. Owen has randomly decided, you know what, this is the lap I'm going to take the lead on the start-finish straight, which could also indicate it might be the lap he wants to pit. But back to what I was saying, Lifebout's tyres visually look a lot uglier compared to the hard tyres around him. So again, just showing, A, what a good visual element that is, and B, that he is actually experiencing quite high tyre wear at the minute.
Yeah, he's holding on as best he can. And I'm just thinking for Lifebout, did Lifebout start on the hard compound of tyres?
Yes.
So this could be a double medium stint. Lifebout could be making it more painful now, so he has the better tyres at the end, which is quite a smart move.
Yeah, I think the hards over however many laps will be left when he comes into the pit lane. I think that will be very soon. Will still be the better tyre. It might be that he goes back onto the used hards. I don't know, because it depends how he feels about those mediums. And the pace is still there. He's hanging on, but they don't look particularly nice at all to drive on at this moment in time. I think it was the wrong call to pit from the hards. I mean, I think he was one of those that might have had damage from the lap 1 contact. So if he had to, that's fair enough. but it's interesting to see what he'll do now. No, he stays out, so yeah, maybe a double medium.
Yeah, I think Lifeboat dropped down the order quite a lot. I think he was outside the top 10 when it all happened. So to be back up there, he's made a mistake into turn 1. Maybe outbroke himself. I think it's definitely time for pit stop this lap. It has to be. That was a big error for the Red Bull driver, and he probably will not want to go through that for another lap. Lap 17 of 29. We don't think we're going to get another safety car, but never say never. And, well, there we have it. 12 laps. He's done 13 laps on those. Maybe he will pit this lap. I'm not sure. He is struggling, though, to put the power down.
Yeah, the rear tyres do take a battering round here. I'm actually looking on the rearward-facing camera shot. That front left, rear left looks a lot worse than the rear right. So, again, maybe there's a little bit of discrepancy between the two tyres as well, which affects the balance of the car. So, yeah, it'd be really interesting to hear back from the drivers, maybe after the race, on how these tyres are performing. And I expect they've practiced this track. I expect they've ran this race as a simulation already to get the experience under their belt. But yeah, just hearing that feedback from the drivers from what we might expect throughout the course of this season will be quite helpful as well. Right, who's coming into the pits this lap is Ryan, followed by Matteo. Lifeboat does come in, as does Shizu Oscar. No 10-second time penalties like there was for Angelo D'Ortenzio last night. But finally, some pit stops.
Here we go. We'll have a look at Quantum in no man's land then, but we've got Dirk, Lawrence and Volokongan still in a little bit of a quarrelsome battle for P4 provisionally. As Volokong, just seeing Jota's message in the chat, Volokong, I suppose not the best F1 24 as a whole, but he did claim the championship in console tier 1 in the end, and I think that is something to be happy about on his side. And yes, and about the 50-50 split on laps this season, it's not the same either. So it is, this pre-season testing is good for a commentator's point of view as well as the drivers. The drivers will get far more out of it than I will. But we will have to wait and see how it will continue all going down. Dirk is catching the Quantum a little bit, just showing that 3 lap old, younger tyres definitely having the advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. And with regards to Volokongan, he overturned a big points deficit, didn't he? At the start of the season wasn't the best. You wouldn't have really had him odds on for the title, but, just through racecraft, quality, and everything that epitomises Volokongan as one of the better drivers on the grid. It came all flooding in, and he won him the Season 20 Championship. He's now chasing the lead of this race on track behind Laurent, who hasn't yet pit in this race, and Shizu Sidar's Cedars Igniters, I should say, in Dirk, his new teammate, of course, following that merge. Reiterdal coming in then. Owen has got the jump on him as they go in towards turn 1. Ryan, how much has he gained? Not a lot, really. It's Bell B that's causing a bit of havoc in this traffic.
Yeah, right. 2.3. Yeah, it's not. Oh, Bell B and Matteo there. Oh, my goodness me. I think that was more of a must move from Matteo. He needed to get through because Bell B is going to be a little bit of a roadblock, and Lifebout definitely doing the double pack. And look at Bell B and Lifebout this time around, going up the inside. Oh my goodness, the 2 Ferraris now got behind the Williams, and this, are we going to see another late lunge with Shizu Oscar? We do. Bell B has flown down the order. What has happened to the poor Williams driver?
I don't think anybody's treated him with any respect there. Matteo's move was desperate. I didn't like that at all. I penalised that if this was a serious race. It is a serious race. I promise it's a serious race. But then, of course, everybody just thought, I'll do the same thing. I'll just kind of force my way through. And even Oscar and LeQuantum couldn't overtake him without hitting him. And there was absolutely no need to have made any sort of contact throughout that process. So, yeah, every driver just making their way through. Hopefully that's Well, I mean, that was a very F124 sequence of events, but, you know, hopefully it doesn't stay like that the whole game cycle, where we just treat cars that are on a different strategy like they're some sort of test dummy.
I can't help but laugh at that one. That's a nice little analogy there, with a test dummy bit in there as well. But yeah, maybe they're still got to iron out those F124 quirks from them at the moment. Volokongan and Dirk staying out. They've got a 12-second lead over Ryder Dahl at the moment, with just over 9 laps remaining. Surely not going to the end.
I think they've got to stay out now. They've come this far in the race. I mean, a fresh set of mediums, they'll have a pace advantage. But 11 seconds, 9 laps to go. This might be as close as I think it might be in my head. This is going to come down to the wire if they stay out, but I think it will be a very worthwhile battle to see. I want them desperately to both stay out for testing purposes, obviously, but equally I'd like to see how quick they are if they pit as well. Oh, Dirk's pit. Volokongan stays out. The tyre whisperer Shizou Volokongan stays out, but Dirk, he's a bit boring. He's coming.
Yeah, I think this was Dirk's plan all along. Volokongan, however, well, let's see what season 24. No, 24. Where am I? Season 20 champion. I went into the future. If he wins a championship in season 24, who knows? Maybe I should buy some lottery tickets. I forgot to do it tonight. Anyway, Gatkowski's retiring from the session. We're down to 14 drivers, unfortunately. Their testing has finished, done and dusted. But Volokongan is down to just over 10 seconds. It's about a second a lap. Ryder Dahl is catching. Eventually, the mediums will drop off a little bit. But is it going to be sooner than the hards dropping off? We'll have to wait and see. Further yellow flags, that's still to do with Gatkowski's car, as the battle for P4 still rages on between Ryan Bakar, Matteo, LeQuantum and Shizou Oscar, with Lifebout just behind.
Yeah, Volokongan and Dirk, maybe they've agreed it amongst themselves to split. You go in, Dirk. You had slightly older tyres. I'll stay out and see if it's possible to get these tyres to the end. Oscar saying tyre wear is just too high to have gone to the end, and well, I'll have to agree. I mean, this pace from Volokongan, he's dropped 2.5 seconds in the last 2 laps. So if it is about a second to a second and a half a lap, they are going to be rapidly hunted by Ryder Dahl and Owen, who also have the superpower of DRS exchanges between them still to use in order to maybe close that gap a little bit quicker. Here we go for P4, 3 abreast, down the start-finish straight. Matteo gets ahead of both of them for the time being, and what's left of it is yet another battle between the 2 Italian-based teams, Ryan and Quantum, side by side. Quantum comes out on top.
Wow, are we ever going to be able to split these two? Because Ryan Bakar and LeQuantum have been glued together since, well, the start of this Grand Prix. The only time they weren't is when LeQuantum decided to do an extra lap on the hards, and they still came out at the same point. It's ridiculous, but it's great to see. Matteo, your pick for winner of this race is currently P4. Not bad for him. Unfortunately, my pick is down in 12th place for the time being. So I may have overestimated that one. Let's go back up to the leaders, because we haven't seen much of Ryder Dahl and Owen. And Ryder Dahl now having to push because of Volokongan being on that alternate strategy. So it's getting interesting. It's interesting to see. We're now going to see Ryder Dahl's true pace, because they have pulled about 1.8 seconds away from the following pack.
Yeah, this is, again, not really... earlier on in the race, sorry, but my words are not coming out tonight, you would have argued that, maybe LeQuantum and Ryan's battling was what separated them. They've only really fought once. And yes, they did have traffic, but even when it's kind of settled down between them, Ryder Dahl is still picking up pace and is still dragging Owen along. I'd be interested to see the lap times as well at the end of the race. Andrea has got a rear left puncture. I was wondering what the yellow flag was for. Andrea's tyres have punctured after 11 laps on the tyres. So that makes it more impressive that Lifeboat managed to push 12 or 13 on them. So, like I was saying, those tyres were really, really going the distance.
Yeah, fair play to Lifeboat for getting them that far. Was it 5.8 seconds now between Volokongan and Ryder Dahl? As things stand, it's very, very close between them. I'm just trying to do the maths in my head to see what tyres, what the mediums would have been like if they hadn't pitted, what tyre life, and that's pretty much what they would be pushing for, wouldn't it? It'd be 10, 11 laps, and that is puncture territory.
Yeah, I think it was I can't remember if there was a safety car last night, but they were doing 11, 12 laps towards the end of the race. So, again, you know, it's not an easy task under normal racing conditions to make a one-stop work. But equally, the two-stop is not a quicker strategy. So tyre wear and tyre management is the name of the game this year, and I really do like that a lot. Owen closer than he has been for a while on Ryder Down, not making that move. Matteo staring down the rear wing of Le Quantum. These lot look set to have a big fight for the podium, which I'm quite looking forward to.
Just behind Dirk, getting past Lawrence there for P9, and 2.2 seconds away from this squabbling group, which you quite rightly mentioned, and Le Quantum now leads that one from Matteo, Rayan, Oscar and Lifebout, who's got a few penalties to their name. Pretty much, Ryder Dahl and Owen is smack bang in the middle of Volokongan and Le Quantum with the timing screen right now. So Volokongan, I don't want to say this, as long as there isn't a puncture, guaranteed a podium?
No. No, I still think it's cutting it fine. I think 9 seconds is still achievable from Le Quantum, Matteo and everyone behind. The pace is deteriorating a lot more than I thought it would at this stage. I thought the mediums would kind of tail off by now with it, but it looks like there's just been absolutely no let-up from the pace of those mediums so far, which is good. It felt like they died a bit too early. That drop-off was a bit too profound too early on in the stint on the previous couple of games, but it feels like you can push for longer, but the tyre wear is still there and they're still going to tail off and then ultimately puncture. I don't know, but that's what I hope anyway.
There's still some squabbling going on, and Dirk is now 1 second behind Lifebout. So Dirk enter player 6 for this battle for P4 currently, and on the fresher tyres to boot. So Dirk not to be counted out either. And it's great. We've had multiple strategies through this. This isn't just one person's done this and the rest have done this. Volokongan's decided to do something different. Dirk's decided to do something different. Le Quantum and Owen and Ryder Dahl went that extra lap. It's quite entertaining right now.
Yeah, huge respect to Volokongan. I mean, I was joking about what I did want him to do, but it feels like somebody's listened and told him, yeah, you know what, Vola, just stay out a bit longer. No, go to the end, actually. We just want to see how long you really can stretch these hard tyres for. And poor guy, this is probably the most awful he's felt driving any F1 game. Yeah, because this is not something you usually do, but he's trying to make it happen. He's trying to go to the end. He's being smart with his battery as well, just to make sure he's deploying where he needs to be deploying. Down the straight to maximise the top speeds, and you will minimise the time lost to the chasers. In this case, Ryder Dahl and Owen duelling for the net win of this race.
It's still about 9 seconds between Volokongan and Le Quantum. I thought we were going to see that come down. It hasn't come down that much, which is interesting to see. 2.3 seconds though between Ryder Dahl and Volokongan, lap 26 of 29 in this social race, pre-season, friendly, whatever you want to call it. It's still been entertaining nonetheless. The main talking points right now, for the first time this race, there is a car for a prolonged period of time between LeQuantum and Ray and Bakar. And those two have fought hammer and tong and nail or whatever for the majority of this race. And it's been great to see that you can get a little bit more action, even if necessarily sometimes the overtakes haven't happened.
Yeah, I mean, huge respect to Ryan LeQuantum in particular. Their battles have been top-notch to watch. They've been pretty respectful throughout. I think there was only one thing, and that was the contact with Oscar from Ryan's point of view. But here they are, still in view of each other, like nothing ever happened. So, yeah, a great race. Battling-wise, feels like we've got some sort of normal wheel-to-wheel action going on again, where it's not just you know, DRS, and that's about it. And also to Volokongan, huge credit for him for trying something different. He didn't have to do this. We expected he'd pit like Dirk did, but he's tried this. It's for our entertainment as well as his own entertainment and seeing how far he can stretch the tyres. So, although we have lost 8 cars in this race, it's still been a worthwhile testing event.
It certainly has, and this is real good testing for Volokongan right now. 3 laps remaining, or 2.5 if you want to be more pedantic about it, as Ray and Bakar picks up a 3-second time penalty down in 6th place. But I think it's time to go on board for the battle for the lead, which is going to be Ryder Dahl and Owen versus Volokongan right now. But you're not going to get this in any sort of, in any other situation. This is what the social race is when it's done with whether it's PSGL or WOR or any of the major league racing scenes. You can do the testing on your own, but when it comes into a live race scenario, you would never think to do 25 laps on a set of hards, would you?
No, never. Unless you are last gasp for a championship, maybe. Volokongan knows all too well now about winning a WOR title, then no, I wouldn't consider this. But again, fair play for him. He's made it work. But unfortunately, his time at the lead of the race has come to an end. Ryder Dahl takes the lead ahead of Owen, and it's back to square one for these two, but they will be fighting on the last lap for the opening console honours of the new game.
This is where it all kicks off, because Matteo and LeQuantum fighting away. Ray and Bakar trying to get involved as well when they come through. Down through turn 3, up into turn 4. The Ferrari of Oscar trying to get involved as well, but not happening on this occasion. But Volokongan, I think, was happy to let them go. As long as Volokongan doesn't get a podium, a puncture. Well, as long as he doesn't get a podium, he's going to get a puncture. And if he doesn't get a puncture, he's going to get a podium, I think, right now, because 6 seconds should be enough for Volokongan just to hold on the penultimate lap of this social race as we're heading through, well, with LeQuantum into turn 10 right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Just trying, and he's got a little bit more in terms of battery harvesting. Is quite achievable on this game, so we often see the maximum deployment reached by this stage of the Grand Prix in terms of what the drivers have been doing all race long. One more lap coming up then. Gap between Ryder Dahl and Owen is around about half a second. The ERS advantage in this battle goes to Ryder Dahl. Can he go 1 for 1 in F125 in WOR? Owen is going to try and stop him from doing so, both deploying their battery to the maximum. I don't think he's going to be close enough for a move into turn 1, but here he comes. Owen to the inside. He brakes late and then backs off the brakes in order to get DRS for the second straight.
This is really clever stuff from Owen right now as they head on down into towards turn 4. He's got the DRS wide open. That is a very clever move from Owen, but Ryder Dahl is not giving in. He's still got the ERS to advantage, but I think that's it there. They're still side by side. That's great between the two of them. Great respect between the two of them as well. As, up the inside, Ryder Dahl has a little sniff, a little bit of contact between the two of them. I think Ryder Dahl is going to let him go through a little bit there, but no, he's sticking with it around the outside, but there is the move sealed finally. It took a sector and a half, but I don't think Ryder Dahl is going to let this one go. Defensive from Owen as they head on down into towards turn number 11, but I don't think there's going to be enough there, but surely not. Ryder Dahl squeezes up there. That's pushing the limits a little bit, but he's got the move done.
Fine by me, Ryderdale. Great move there to snatch it back from Owen. Owen thought he had it done. He was ahead down on the run up towards turn 4. He's got one more slipstreaming opportunity and then gets a handful of opposite lock. Was that the dirty air kicking in? Was that tyre wear kicking in? But regardless, I think Ryderdale is going to emerge victorious in this race. He's been the pace setter all evening long and gets F125 going with victory. Owen, unfortunate, but a great battle and great respect shown. Vola Kongan, take a bow, my friend. 25 laps on hard compound of tyres. We doubted your ability to do it. I wanted you to do it. I'm so glad you've done it. That's a podium with some majestic tyre whispering.
Someone get that man some rubber because his tyres are going to need it. Get on all the marbles you can, Vola Kongan, because my goodness me, that was incredible to say the least. Yeah, not what we were expecting. Ryan Bakar and LeQuantum, I was going to call him Leclerc then. Absolutely incredible battle between the two of them for the majority of the race. But it was... and I've forgotten who won the race.
Ryderdale won the race.
Ryderdale.
Sorry, I'm reading the Console Tier 1 chat, which is where the race is being held tonight. Tyre wear, I can see your face. You've seen it. 91%. Oh, yes. I like that. Well played.
I'm so glad I didn't move over. I was just kept on wanting to call Ryderdale Rayan Bakar. I just couldn't think of the right... I just couldn't... My mouth just did... yeah. Anyway. Vola Kongan. Wow. Absolutely. Wow. That is really... I've got no words to describe how impressed I was with that, to be honest. Fair play. And we had, from the end of last season when he won it on tyre wear to the start of this season, showcasing how you can eke those tyres a little bit more. I wouldn't personally want to do that because I know I would burst my tyres. But what a race. Overall, that was great, wasn't it? As a social race.
Yeah, I mean, he's had to think about there, Vola Kongan. How much are my tyres wearing per lap? Can I make it to the end under 100%? Because if I can, I'm taking the chance of going to the end. And yes, he got lucky that they didn't puncture. Another day that could have been him in last. But, he's tried it. It's worked. He comes out in a better position than he probably would have been if he had pit the same way as Dirk, who didn't make the progress. So it's a game of decisions. This game will be a game of those key decisions. I look forward to seeing more scenarios like that, you'd hope.
I think we're going to get them as well. It's been one race in, and we shouldn't take too much. But if that's how it's going to be this season, if we get more of that, I think everyone's going to see how... Well, maybe use that to their advantage as well. Vola Kongan definitely being able to showcase it maybe that little bit more. Well, we've got no other news really, Joseph, have we? Nothing to report from a WOR side of things. Sign-ups, I believe, towards the end of June, maybe middle to end of June. But don't take my word for it. I'm not Luke. I don't have all the knowledge and power that he does. But yeah, keep on all the socials. We're going to have plenty more socials between now and the new season. Season 21 is going to be the best one yet for WR, especially if we are going to have racing and action like that.
Yeah, absolutely. If you like long races, if you like seeing the tyres pushed to their limits, I must promote Ironman. That's coming at the end of the week. I want to say, checking the date now, June the 8th at 8 p.m. Central European Time, the Ironman 100% League will be back. So I know a lot of you enjoy that. That gets great views every single time. Big names, big esports names in there. So yeah, get yourself watching some 100% racing for its biggest season yet.
what could go wrong apart from tyres exploding and people getting angry at the tyres. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure to have Joseph alongside me again. It's probably going to be a mix of the commentators throughout, but I am absolutely thrilled and honoured to be the first one to do it through this this game cycle. You know, it's not very often I can turn around and be like, I was the commentator that did the first console tier 1, and it was great to have Joseph alongside me for that one as well. So, well, thank you for watching. Joseph, any final words from yourself?
Not particularly. Yeah, I look forward to WOR Season 21 if I don't cover any more socials, but we'll see.
We will wait and see indeed. Season 21 is very nearly upon us. The F1 25 game is upon us. If it's anything like tonight, we are going to have an incredible game cycle, and we hope it is going to continue that way. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you throughout the rest of the year.